Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, 5 Reasons to Earn a Master's in Clinical Mental Health Counseling at Divine Mercy University. My name is Julie Cipriano. I'm your admissions advisor here for the School of Counseling, and we'll get started with our presentation here in just a second. I'm going to present over the next half hour or so a lot of material. It's going to be almost an overwhelming amount. So you're bound to have questions, which is great. I'd love to answer them for you. I would just ask that as we go through the presentation, as questions occur to you, please pop them into the chat or into the Q&A on your Zoom toolbar, and I will tackle those questions when we reach the end of the presentation. Doing it this way allows those people who are at work and have to jump off right at the end to get the full presentation, and then they can maybe come back to the recording when we share it later to review the questions that people who can stay later have time to ask. So again, as we go through the material, as questions occur to you, please feel free to pop them into the chat or into the Q&A in your Zoom toolbar, and I'll tackle them when we get to the end of the presentation. All right, here we go. 5 reasons to earn a master's in counseling at Divine Mercy University. So we are Divine Mercy University. We are a graduate school of psychology and counseling. We train mental health professionals in a Catholic understanding of the person. So DMU was founded in the late 90s under the name Institute for the Psychological Sciences. That college still exists. It houses our psychology side. If you've poked around our website at all, you've probably seen that name. That college houses our psychology side. So we have another online master's degree in general psychology. We also have an on-site doctorate in clinical psychology. So we have an actual campus here in Northern Virginia, with, many of the things usual colleges have. We have a student center, a chapel. We have a pool on the 3rd floor coming soon. Right? No, just kidding, no pool. We have a library and all the other things that you would expect, classrooms. So we do have students who are studying for their doctorate in clinical psychology who are on campus year round, working towards their, as I said, their doctorate in clinical psychology, or PsyD for short. Through offering those programs, they found that there was a real need for counselors, and particularly for counselors of faith. So with that knowledge, they decided to go ahead and add the second school, the School of Counseling, and the Master's in Clinical Mental Health Counseling that we're discussing today. So when a school has more than one college, that's the point at which they take a university name. So that's how we went from being plain old IPS to Divine Mercy University. We seek to provide our students an effective academic and educational environment to support the integration of the human sciences and a Catholic Christian understanding of the person. Our school is fully accredited. We are institutionally accredited by SACS-COC. That acronym stands for Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges. So institutional accreditation is the baseline you should look for in any U.S. school you attend. So if they can't give you a simple yes to the institutional accreditation question, or if they offer you some sort of state accreditation or anything that's not Department of Education, that's your sign to go very quickly in the opposite direction. So the way accreditation works in the US, each area of the country has its own accrediting agency. Each agency has a different name. Ours is called the Southern Association. That goes from where we are in Virginia all the way down around to Texas. So UT, Auburn, UVA, all those schools are accredited by SACS, just like we are. Now, when you start talking about psychology and counseling, there are a couple of extra accreditations that can be earned. APA, you see that down here in the bottom middle. That's kind of the big dog of all the accreditations, and most people have heard of APA. Our Psychology Institute for the Psychological Sciences is APA accredited. In fact, we became only the second school in the whole history of the APA to receive the full 7-year accreditation grant on the first try. They just extended that to 10 years, so renewal is coming up in a few years here, and they're furiously working towards that already. When you start talking about counseling, the extra accreditation for that type of program is known by the acronym CACREP. You see that on the bottom right of your screen here. DMU's School of Counseling, the Master's in Clinical Mental Health Counseling, is a CACREP accredited program. What that means for you is that our degree meets the requirements for licensure in every state in the USA. So no exclusions, doesn't matter what state you live in. If you see outdated information on our website that says we don't do certain states, that's wrong. We're CACREP accredited, so our degree meets requirements for all states in the US. All right, so if you have any questions on accreditation, please feel free to pop it into the chat or into the Q&A, and I'll be sure to tackle it when we get to the end of the presentation. All right, so what makes DMU different? So you can get a counseling degree lots of places. You know, they're pretty common, easy to find. Some are even cheaper than DMU. Fair warning, you can find a cheaper education. What you cannot find, though, is another school that teaches through the lens of our Catholic Christian meta model of the human person. So this model is unique to our university. It was developed by our faculty, and it's the reason that most people choose our school. Through this model, they'll teach you to frame a treatment plan based on the Catholic understanding of the person that we are, integrated beings, body, mind, and soul. And you cannot neglect the soul and still expect to help a person reach flourishing. So while you will learn all of the modern theories and ideas and everything you need to be an effective mental health professional, a master's level counselor, you will view it all through the lens of the Catholic Christian meta model of the person, so that when you inevitably encounter somebody who doesn't believe in God, who doesn't want to talk about God, that's okay. We understand that the objective truth of who we are and how we were created does not hinge on one's belief or unbelief. So you can help someone move towards flourishing through this model, even if they never want to talk about God. Now, I encourage you to go to our website and just search Catholic Christian Meta Model of the Person, or CCMMP for short. It'll come up first link, I promise. There's a PDF you can download that's about 40 pages, an introduction to the theology and philosophy behind why we teach the way we do. I encourage you to download that, read it. If you have trouble finding it, just send me a message. I'll give you my contact information at the end. I'll be happy to share it with you. All right. So here we go. First reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling at Divine Mercy University. Well, you can become licensed as a mental health professional, a job. That's the reason most people want to earn this degree. They want to begin working to help people reach flourishing through talk therapy. So as I mentioned, the counseling degree at DMU meets all educational requirements for licensing in every state in the country. This says most states. I'll get that fixed. Sorry about that. You can find on our website a breakdown of each state, their requirements, and whether DMU meets those requirements. The answer is yes, it does. But counseling.org is also a great resource if you haven't found it yet. I encourage you to check it out. Like I said, you can find all that information on our website, but why take our word for it? And if you become a student, you'll have to join counseling.org anyway. So take a look. They have a nice state-by-state knowledge center. So you can just click on your state. They'll tell you which exams you have to take, how long you have to work under supervision, and there'll be contact information for your state licensing board. So that's a great resource. So licensing happens after you graduate. It's a long time from now, but our professors will begin preparing the students for licensing on day one, pretty much. The national exam is offered, only every so often, so they want you to be ready to take it as soon as you possibly can upon graduation, and you'll be well prepared. 100% of our graduates who sit for the licensing exam pass it. So 100% is one of our very favorite numbers. You'll hear it again in this presentation. Keep an ear out for it. As you move through your studies, our professors will give you assignments that relate to licensure, just to make sure that you understand the process and that you're headed in the right direction. Trust me, we love the 100% number so much. We're not going to let you be the one to break our perfect record. So it is important to familiarize yourself with licensing and what's required in your state. Again, counseling.org is a great resource, and backed up by our website. You can view that information there as well. All right. Any questions about licensing, well, I actually didn't give you the whole story. So once you sit for your exam after you graduate, you're then provisionally licensed. So although you can still work and see clients and be paid as a counselor in your provisional licensure period, which usually lasts about 2 years, you will have a safety net of someone with more experience who can, guide you when you inevitably encounter those challenging cases, help you with any questions that might arise. Just make sure that all is well, as you are a new counselor. Everyone I've spoken with who's graduating and working in their supervised period really appreciates their supervision and is grateful for the support. So this is a normal part of the process. And like I said, you will be working and being paid as a therapist in that supervised period. So if you have questions about licensing, please don't raise your hand. I'm not going to answer that, but you can pop your question into the chat or into the Q&A in your Zoom toolbar, and I'll tackle those questions at the end of the presentation. All right. So second reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Well, this program is an online hybrid. Counseling obviously is a helping and a people profession, and there are certain aspects of it that just don't lend themselves to online learning. So that's why we've established residency, practicum, and internship, just to make sure that you get the skills you need in the best way we can teach them to you. So of those, residency comes first. So residency happens 3 times as you move through your online studies. And they use that time together here on campus over a long weekend to teach the counseling skills that don't lend themselves to online learning. So things like nonverbal communication, situational ethics. There are always a ton of presentations by faculty, students, and student groups. It's also a big gateway weekend. So all the professors are there with you, and they're looking to make sure that each student has gained the skills needed to be ready to move on to the next section. So the first residency is always 8 weeks after you begin. So right now we're enrolling for our May cohort. Classes begin May 22nd, 2024. And the first residency will be 8 weeks after that, July 10th through 14th. So they are 4 days long. As I mentioned, you arrive on a Wednesday evening and stay through a Sunday afternoon. While you're here, they'll expect you to be on site and attend the whole program. There is a fee for this training that's built into your tuition. The breakdown is $16.50 per residency. That fee covers your training, obviously, but also your hotel and most of your meals while you're here. So one-stop shopping, you pay the fee, just show up and we'll take care of the rest. Once you've finished your third residency and the bulk of your online studies, you'll then step into practicum and internship. And these are done in your own area based on the kind of counseling work you'd like to do. So practicum comes first. Practicum is like a pre-internship. It's 100 hours of on-the-job training. So this is what gets you ready for the real hands-on counseling work of your internship. In those 100 hours of training, at least 40 will be direct service with actual counseling clients where you will begin to act as a therapist with someone in the room with you. And you'll also learn office processes, and keeping the files and, whatever else they need you to know, where the bathroom is, where the lunchroom is, all that pre-internship training that you'll need to be successful in your internship. Once you've finished your 100 hours of on-the-job training, you'll then step into your 2 internships. Each of those is 300 hours and spans 16 weeks. So we have a director of internship who will work with you to help you identify a few places in your area that you'd like to work based on your interest. Internships are done in your own area based on the kind of counseling work you'd like to do, as I think I mentioned. Our internship placement is 100%. There's our favorite number again. You will get one and we will help you with it. So I know for sure not every program offers that. So if you are investigating other programs, that's a great question to ask. What's their rate of internship placement? Is it guaranteed? Will they help you? And the answer to all of those at DMU is yes. All right. Any questions about residency, practicum, and internship, please feel free to pop them into the chat or into the Q&A, and I will tackle your questions at the end of the presentation. All right. Third reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Well, our terrific faculty are a great reason. This is maybe 20% of the faculty we have on board for the School of Counseling. Dr. Vivlechka there on the left is currently out on maternity leave, but she usually is the one who makes all decisions regarding waivers and transfer credit and, all kinds of other things. She is generous, kind, and understanding. And if you have to contact her for one of those situations I mentioned, she's wonderful. I should mention that all of our core faculty are practicing and experienced clinicians. So they do understand what you need to learn to live out your vocation as a counselor. So next to Dr. Vivlechka, we have Drs. Keys and Sharp. They are directors of training and internship for the School of Counseling. Dr. Keys assists everyone east of the Mississippi, and Dr. Sharp assists everyone west of the Mississippi. So you will encounter them when it comes time to establish your internship, and they'll be key players in helping you do that. Beside them are Drs. D. Liaco and Dr. Humes. Dr. D. Liaco is one of our international professors, so he works and resides in Philippines. And Dr. Humes lives somewhere up north, somewhere cold, I believe, like Minnesota or Michigan or something like that. Anyway, you can find all of these bios on the counseling pages of the website. There's a page just for faculty, so you can click on a name, read their full bio, and there's also contact information. So if you're looking through those bios and something that they've done, their research or studies or whatever really speaks to you, feel free to reach out. They're always happy to hear from prospective students. Ultimately, they'll probably send you back to me, but that's okay. They're happy to hear from you, and we'll answer the question you have as best they can. I should mention that Dr. Keys also runs our Center for Trauma and Resiliency Studies. So in addition to your regular training on trauma, you'll have an opportunity to participate in the Center for Trauma and Resiliency Studies, become a certified clinical field traumatologist if that interests you, learn great techniques like EMDR, and respond as a team for the Green Cross to trauma situations around the world. So they've been to Africa. They went to UVA a few years ago when that blew up here in the US. They have been to Romania and several other places that escape me at the moment. But anyway, opportunities abound to really gain field traumatology experience and to become a clinical traumatologist along your way to becoming a mental health professional. All right, fourth reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Well, as I mentioned, job is important. That's why most people earn this degree. They want a job as a mental health professional. I have had some alumni participate in this webinar in the past, and they tell me that they do all of these bullet points in their day-to-day practice. So at DMU, you'll be trained to handle whatever comes your way as a counselor, and you will likely deal with many, if not all of these things on a somewhat regular basis. This degree is extremely flexible, and though most people do earn it because they want to become a mental health professional, that's not all you can do with it. There was a time at DMU when our Dean of Students was someone who had a master's in clinical mental health counseling. And in my town, in the county where I reside, the person who is in charge of the Division of Social Services, she's someone who's in charge of all the social workers in the county. She is someone who has a master's in clinical mental health counseling. So this degree is extremely versatile. You can become a therapist. You can do lots of other things with it in the helping professions. Occasionally, people want to know how much they're going to earn. Honestly, I'm not sure. It depends on where you are and what you do. Obviously, if you work in a homeless shelter, you're going to earn a homeless shelter salary. If you hang out a shingle in a reasonably metropolitan area and go into private practice, you're going to bump up to six figures pretty quickly. So again, it depends on where you are, what you do. But your favorite search engine is a great tool to kind of figure out median salary expectations for your area. As far as job placement, we do have a terrific alumni association, and they are always sending job placement information to our students, or excuse me, to our graduates. So that'll be something that'll be available to you as well. Fifth reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Well, this program is an online hybrid. It's extremely flexible. You can be anywhere in the world you want to be and still get your schoolwork done. As long as you have your computer and the internet, you'll be all set to go. Excuse me. The lectures are pre-recorded, so they're available 24/7 whenever it suits you to access them. You can watch them 2 or 3 times if you need to, whatever you need, it's available to you. As you move through your studies, your professors will arrange for weekly real-time meetings to do things like question and answer, discussion group review, etc. So you will work very closely with your professors. You'll also work very closely with the other students in your cohort, obviously to build your counseling skills, but just as importantly, to build the professional friendships and relationships that you'll need once you become a mental health professional. So a lot of times people are afraid they're going to miss out on that in-person interaction that you get when you're in a brick and mortar school. You guys are going to be counselors, so you're probably a lot more outgoing than I am. But my experience in my brick and mortar undergrad was that I went to my class, I sat there, I took my notes, and then I left. So there wasn't a whole lot of socializing in class. This is different. So they go very much out of their way in arranging the program so that you do build those professional relationships with your professors and with your fellow students, because you'll need those relationships. Once you become a mental health professional, you'll need that professional support, and who couldn't use another good friend? All right, so let's see here. Our acceptance requirements are a bachelor's degree. There is no degree requirement, no prerequisites. If your degree is in synchronized swimming or basket weaving, it'll work. This is an entry, excuse me, this is an entry-level program. So any degree will work as long as your GPA is 3.0 overall, or in your major, or in your last 60 credits. If you're thinking back on your undergrad days, kind of looking at them askance and maybe thinking that you don't quite come up to the 3.0 mark, that's okay. That's not necessarily a deal breaker. Just contact me outside of this webinar about that, and we can look at your transcripts and figure it out. We also require the GRE. I'm sorry to have to say it, but it is true. You can get a waiver for the GRE if you have a master's degree or higher. If you are an international student, we do have a TOEFL requirement, which you can see on the bottom right box there. And if your transcripts are in a language other than English, or if they're graded on a scale other than 4.0 like we use in the US, you would need a transcript evaluation and or translation, depending, maybe both. And again, you can contact me about that if that's your situation. All right. So the total investment for this degree is $925 per credit. It's a 66 credit master's degree. There's so that's $925 for credit times 66 for a total of $61,050. There's a technology fee of $50 per class for a total of $1,100. Lab fees for your whole time in school are $375. The residency fee we discussed, $1,650 per residency. That covers your training, your hotel, and meals while you're here on campus for your residency weekend. That's $1,650 per residency times 3 for a total of $4,950. So all that together gives you a total tuition value for the whole program, start to finish, of $67,475. So that's $67,475 for the whole program, start to finish. Now, the happy news is that grad school is affordable. We do participate fully with the federal loan program, both here and in Canada. So if you need government loans, we can help you with those. Some employers do offer tuition reimbursement. So if you're working, that's a great question to ask of your HR department. Find out what they can do to cover the cost of your degree. We're also approved for the VA, the GI Bill. We're a yellow ribbon school, and we accept AmeriCorps benefits. So if you have any of those, or if they can be assigned to you, we participate with all of those. We have a very nice scholarship program available. You can view them on our website. They're designed very nicely, so everybody qualifies for something. The way scholarships work at DMU is you can apply for 4 and you can accept 2. Right now, we're giving away a bonus 3rd scholarship, an extra $2,000 just for getting your paperwork started early. Some people use alternate funding, whether it's private funding. We have a matching scholarship available. So if you can find some nonprofit support from outside the university, whether it's from a religious or fraternal type organization, some sort of agency, something like that. As long as it's nonprofit, we would match that up to $2,000. We also have a cash plan we can set up internally that's interest-free. So if you wanted to pay over the course of the semester in monthly installments, we can set that up internally. There's no interest, there's no fee. So that's just a free service that we offer to our students. There's also an interesting federal program here in the US called National Health Service Corps. Again, use your favorite search engine to find that. It'll come up first link. This is a program outside the university, and the way it works is if you're willing to work in an area designated either low income or underserved for a mere 2 years after you graduate, what you would do is review their site. They have a nice interactive map that shows the areas around you that are hiring under partnership with National Health Service Corps. And once you have applied for the job and negotiated your salary like you would any other job, once you've worked 3 months at that job, they'll give you a lump sum of up to $50,000 to pay off your student loan debt. This is a no-brainer if you can work it out. So I encourage you to look into that. I've told you about as much as I know. You can find their site very easily online and check it out through there. So there are 2 paths you can take at DMU in the scholarship realm. One is just plain old scholarships that are listed on the website. And another is a tuition reduction through a partnership that we already have existing. You can see various entities that we partner with here. I think there's a longer list on the website. So if you served as a focused missionary, or if you are a parishioner in the Diocese of Austin, just let me know and we can see what sort of tuition discount might be available to you. So you can either take a scholarship through the website, or you can take a tuition reduction through a partnership agreement, not both. So if you did take one of these partnership reductions, you could qualify for one more smaller scholarship. And you can, once you begin your application, our financial aid experts will be in touch to begin talking with you about scholarships, partnerships, which ones you should pursue, and what you can reasonably expect from us given your particular situation. All right, again, our entrance requirements are the bachelor's degree, the GPA of 3.0 overall, or in your major, or in your last 60 credits. We also require the GRE, although that can be waived if you have a master's or higher. And then once all your paperwork has been completed, we'll set you up for interviews. There are 2 online video conferencing interviews to be done. The first one's easy. It's a quick 30 minutes with me. Mostly it's a coaching session to get you ready for the big interview, which is a 3-hour online group interview with 2 or 3 other applicants to the program and 2 faculty members. All right, this is all well and good, but you're probably wondering, how do I know if this is really the right path for me? Is this what God's calling me to? And I'd ask you to consider carefully these 4 questions. Ponder them, be honest with yourself, and think about them seriously. Do you have the desire to help heal the whole person and to help people flourish? 2, do you want to have a career which enables you to answer the question, how can I help people? Thirdly, what can you do to make a positive contribution in others' lives? Can you be that instrument of healing? And finally, I ask everyone, because I'm the one who's on the hook to recommend you to the dean, if you were to apply and be admitted, can you commit to the successful completion of the program? In other words, are you someone who finishes what you begin? And if you can ponder these and answer yourself honestly and come up with a yes to all 4 questions, chances are you're a great candidate, and I would definitely love to help you work on your application to the School of Counseling. Our application process is pretty straightforward and streamlined. The first step is just an online demographic form, sections 1 through 8 of the online application for admission. It takes 20 or 30 minutes to do that. You can do it today if you want to. Once we have that, our financial aid experts will be in touch to begin talking with you about tuition, scholarships, partnerships, what you can reasonably expect from us, and what you should pursue given your particular situation. Once that's done, we'll begin to gather your required documents. There are 2 brief essays, a 500-word personal statement, a 200-word professional statement. We'll ask you to upload a current version of your resume or CV. We'll need official transcripts sent directly from your institution to us for any degrees conferred. You'll need 1 recommendation, and you will also need a GRE if that you don't have a waiver for that. Once we've gathered your documents, we'll set you up for your interview and hopefully admission. I see that classes begin January 10th, 2024. That's true, they did begin. So that's all over with. Right now, we're enrolling for a new cohort beginning May 22nd, 2024. You're in plenty of time to apply for that. There are enough interview spaces remaining to accommodate a good many people. So I would encourage you to, if you would like to begin school in May, to begin your application today. All right. So I want to thank you for your time this afternoon, for hearing our webinar, 5 Reasons to Earn a Master's in Clinical Mental Health Counseling at Divine Mercy University. That is my contact information and my direct number. You can call or text me at that number. Text is definitely the best and fastest way to reach me. You can email me anytime. If you contact me and I can't answer immediately, I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. And as a thank you for your time and attention today, we'd like to offer you an application fee waiver, your first mini scholarship, $55 value. Just jot down that code CCMMP 1999. If you forget it or lose your little Post-it that you jotted it on, don't worry. I'd be happy to tell it to you anytime. Just text or email me. I'll send it to you. All right. If you have to jump off, thank you again for being here. And I look forward to talking with you again soon. I'm going to go ahead and answer questions. If you have a question, pop it into the chat or into the Q&A and I'll tackle it right now. All right. So what hotel or residencies held at? Do we make our own reservations? So no, you do not make your own reservations. You just pay the fee and show up, and we will have the hotel ready for you, and most of your meals will be provided as well. The hotel we use is right next door to the school. It's some flavor of Marriott. I can't remember exactly the name. Let's see here. Someone wants to know if internships are paid, and typically they are not. Students are typically not paid, but that's not an absolute. Sometimes they are paid. Someone says she's a school teacher, has class credits over teaching credential. Can she transfer credits to the counseling program? So you can transfer credits up to 12 credits from an outside institution. However, the state monitors very closely the course titles and the course content, and we don't want to jeopardize your licensing. So it has to be an exact match, including syllabus, course title, etc. So you'll need all of that information to submit to the registrar to be considered for transfer credit. If it's counseling program to counseling program, usually it's no problem. Teaching credential to counseling may or may not be a fit. You have to ask the registrar and the Dr. Vivlechka, the program director for the School of Counseling. So someone wants to know if GRE math scores taken into consideration when determining admissions for students below 3.0 overall. So the bad news about the GRE is that you have to take it. The good news about the GRE is that we don't use the scores to make admissions decisions, and nobody cares what you get in math. So I would say don't waste a lot of time preparing for that test. Just sign up for it, give it your best shot, rip that Band-Aid off, and never think about it again. In fact, you can apply and be fully admitted before we ever see your GRE score. So you can even wait till you're admitted to sit for the exam. We don't care. All right, let's see here. So if you apply for a program, we are expecting that you are planning to start in the term for which you're applying. If life happens and you must defer, you can defer twice for up to 1 year each time, but you won't make any friends by applying and then deferring. So I would say wait until you're ready to start. So someone's asking if they can have a waiver of the GRE for a high GPA in the undergrad? The answer is no. You have to have a master's degree or better to get a waiver of the GRE. All right. Any other questions out there? Thanks again, everyone. I really appreciate your time. I would love to hear from you. Feel free to call, text, or email me and start your application today. I'll help you get going. Thanks so much. Have a great week. Bye now.